Surprisingly, I have not really done a video on this particular subject yet, so this was a perfect opportunity to do it, considering the backlash from the new Batwoman trailer, which has been ratioed to hell on YouTube. If you've seen my reaction, I actually had far less problems with the trailer than a lot of people did. I want to be clear. I have no issue with female superheroes acknowledging their femininity. I actually prefer that, especially one like Batwoman, who is just a tokenized version of Batman that is part of the Bat family. This version, the newer Kane one, has been handled pretty decently if you follow the Detective Comics run, the current one. Considering I already knew about the character, I was okay with the trailer for the most part, and I actually had no problem with her saying that the suit needed to be able to fit a woman. I'm more thrown off by the storyline, as we don't know why, but it's odd for Batman to really just up and leave like that. I think the trailer hit cringe level when Ruby Rose said her bit about she wasn't going to let a man take credit for the work of a woman. Now, looking at this objectively, this ain't the worst thing ever, but when you look at it, I guess in the context and the climate, the current climate that is, of today's comics and comic book film and TV, it makes sense as to why people were fed up, because it seems like it's going to be just another man-bashing TV show surrounded by a superhero, surrounded with superheroes and heroines. And I can see why people would come to that conclusion, though I'm trying to be fair, and I gotta wait until the show comes out, and I gotta wait to see it. But for those that are confused as to why this backlash exists, let me explain this to you. We live in an age of social justice infiltration in comics. That is, that people use characters to solely promote their social views, idiotic social views at that, which is why the writers tend to have the same exact views as the narratives that they paint and try to project into these characters. So it has created a predictable, lazy community of writers, way too on the nose, directors as well, producers and so forth. We see tokenizing of established characters, man-hating, hyper-feminism, Trump-hating being projected through these mediums. And this is why so many communities have opposed this, and they really popped up in opposition. Now, these scripts are starting to sound like blue check mark leftists in show and comic book form. And this leads me to the prime reason why people are fed up. Modern writers don't know how to write female superhero characters, or at least the writers being chose for these projects. Supergirl had this the worst, for example. I've already covered this. They nerfed Superman, having him constantly validate the narrative that she's stronger, and the whole entire show consists of them checking off feminist or social justice boxes. They have to constantly remind you that she's a female. This happened with Captain Marvel as well. The movie has all of these flashbacks with her being told basically she can't do things because she's a female. They sex changed Marvel to a female, which was criminal. They removed Monica Rambeau's father, which was criminal. And the final fight scene has just a girl by no doubt playing in the background. So we have Batwoman, and it's a similar thing where the first trailer is just them telling you she's a woman and really highly emphasizing that. They have some song in the background playing where she's saying like, I'm a woman. And I think this would have landed a lot better had they removed that song and the last statement that she had regarding taking credit. But when you consider the climate and the other female superheroes with headliners is unfortunately predictable. It's as if they really just, again, they can't write a female character without her saying, look at me, I'm a woman, and I'm either equal or I'm better than the man. Even though all three of the characters that I just mentioned are unoriginal and are tokenized versions of superhero, OG Captain Marvel, as in Marvel and Batman. Like I said, I'm perfectly fine. I'm okay with them acknowledging their femininity. And I think that Batwoman would, or the trailer that is, it did a decent job of really acknowledging Batman's existence and making it clear not only in the fact that she's a female version of somebody, that already exists, but hell, if you're going to have a tokenized character in the first place, do a movie about them, that's the best thing that you can really do. You don't have to crap on the OG. But where they may have went wrong in the trailer, though we don't know what's going to happen in the show, is they kind of make it appear like she's trying to replace and be the better version. So when you consider the times, this was not the best move, and they should have expected this reaction because they are following this trend. But again, we have not seen it. I gotta be fair. I mean, hell, you even have that tidbit where she's like, hey, or her father's like, you're a female Bruce Wayne, because yeah, that's really what you are. This is what the Aquaman movie, for example, did far better than the movies that I just mentioned and the shows. And I feel that really that's the superior female superhero, Mira, that is, alongside Wonder Woman, obviously. Now, Mira is an original character and not a female Aquaman, so she has that advantage. But in the recent film, they didn't have to keep reminding you that she was just female. She was just badass, and she was able to be feminine. Be a beautiful, powerful woman without having to constantly tell you that all the time. That's exactly, what she is. And she was able to be great alongside Aquaman. Wonder Woman is the same thing. She feels like a strong woman, but she maintains her femininity without having to constantly remind you in lazy dialogue that, hey, I'm a woman and I'm badass. This is why I said time after time that white male characters are the only characters that seem to stand the test of time, and it has little to do with the fact that most of the OG comic book characters were white males. That's part of it, but not all of it. They put those characters through the grinders for decades at a time, and because there's not many, let's say, negative, social aspects that they can focus on from the perspective of the white man, because people treat them like they're on top of everything, they have to focus on things that's most important. Character development and storytelling. That's all they have to fall back on, so it forces the writers to be creative. But they don't do this with really any other human character. Think about it. There's hardly really any recent black superhero TV shows or movies that didn't have some hyper emphasis on like racism at some point for a block of episodes, an entire season, or an entire movie. That's exactly what happened with both Black Lightning, that first season, as well as Black Panther. It's like they are incapable of doing anything else, and the CW, with now their other female-led show, they are seeming to do the same thing, though we don't exactly know. This has created a response culture that is just fed up with all of this crap, so everybody's going to sort of be on the edge at the slightest. Once they see anything remotely feminist BS. Writers should recognize this by now, but they keep making the same mistake. I'm led to believe that they are incapable of doing it, or they simply don't care, because after all, it's about them trying to push their own agenda. They don't even care if the character has history that's antithetical to what they're going to try to project, through this character. They just use it as their canvas, wipe all of that away, and just want to promote their personal social views. My review of this show, of course, will be live once the show pops off, and I'll give it to you straight with my detailed thoughts. I'm also going to go a little more in depth with this issue in an upcoming For Canon's Sake podcast, which you can check out over at my website, ericdjuly.com. Until next time, though, y'all be easy.